What's up, ladies and gentlemen? How's it going? It's Dan here from Cryonoir. And how quickly things change, how much of a difference a day makes. I'm probably a little bit late to the party, even though this actually, or I only became aware of it yesterday. This news came out yesterday about Unreal Engine 5. Now, if you haven't seen this yet and you're interested in sort of games and game development, you need to check this out. I mean, obviously, you probably are interested in games and game development, otherwise you wouldn't have clicked on the thumbnail and you wouldn't be here. But anyway, you need to check out this demo that they've just done. It's absolutely fantastic. It's unbelievable. I'm just going to talk you through a couple of the few things that they've sort of mentioned here, and this really does put me in a bit of a quandary. It has to be said. I've been working in Unity now for a good couple of years. I've taken a break away from it just for the time being because I'm developing an app. But previously I was working in Unity, and I intended to go back to Unity. That's what I would be doing as soon as I finish developing this app. This kind of makes me question whether or not that should be what I do. I've ummed and ahed about going over to Unreal on and off, maybe about 5 times over the past couple of years. My long-term viewers are probably sick of me talking about this, but we'll get back to the demo and I'll talk you through what's going on. So the first major thing is the new Lumen system, which is some sort of global illumination system, which appears to do real-time global illumination to a very high standard and seems to be completely dynamic and reactive. And I do believe they mentioned something like an infinite bounces as well, as incorporate some sort of ray tracing, but I don't think it actually does. I think it's still a fudge of ray tracing, shall we say? But I do believe it's very, very close. It looks absolutely spectacular in some of the shots, and particularly how dynamic it is and the way that it interacts with moving objects and how the shadows behave. It's absolutely fantastic. So there's no light baking, there's no light maps, there's no nothing. This is all done through sheer force of will, I guess. Another technology they seem to have brought in is called nanite, which appears to be some sort of lossless compression that they can do to advanced geometry. So the idea is, rather than creating a very high poly model and then externally kind of running it through sort of various different softwares that you can get and different systems to create varying different LODs or level of detail settings, and then reduce the geometry complexity and then create normal maps and LODs and all that kind of stuff, and then import all that lot into Unreal, and then have it so that, you know, as you look at an object that's further away, it's a lower level of detail. As you get closer, it then sort of jumps to the next level, and the next level as you get closer and closer. This appears to be a way that you can just bring in ridiculously high level of geometry assets with ridiculously high texture maps on there. And they were saying that these are like 8K textures, and so you've got all of that data, and it's all just within the engine, actually within the objects itself. And that basically means that you can have like an infinitely scaling level of detail. So it doesn't matter whether you're close or far away from it; it will just gradually become more and more kind of detailed. You'll be able to make out more and more detail in a much more realistic way, rather than having this graduated or this sort of step system where texture detail suddenly pops in as you get a bit closer to something. And, you know, that's going to be absolutely staggering. One sort of flip side of that is it's going to mean that, you know, graphics cards are going to have more and more video RAM on them. Like, I mean, as we're already up to sort of 8 and 12 gigabyte cards. You know, the old days of having like 4 gigabyte cards and stuff like that, they're probably long gone. We're going to be up to ridiculous like 32 gig cards and stuff in the future. We're going to have at least, maybe within the next couple of years, if this really takes hold. But it's a fantastic system, and it looks absolutely breathtaking. All the geometry done in this demo is done using the Quixels Megascan library with 8K textures, which is also owned by Epic and is free to anyone that wants to use Unreal. And they've got I think they've called it the bridge system, which means you can get all of the assets free and they import really easily. And I mean, that came in about 6 months ago, and, you know, that was like quite the game changer as it is. So yeah, this is becoming more and more of a compelling case. Now, I have tried with Unreal a couple of times in the past, and I really do not care for the visual scripting. I much prefer actual writing code. They're throwing more and more at developers to make them come over to Unreal. I always had the big issue that I want to try and scale this company beyond myself. So it was a case of, well, if I release a game running in Unity, which would be marvelous and everything, and I make a bit of money, and then I can take on a couple of more developers. So I take on a couple more Unity developers for the next game, and the next game, is slightly grander in scale, and that does quite well. And then, and that does well, and then I want to scale the business to more people. So we're talking like 10 developers, 20 developers, something like that. You're getting, I won't say out of the scope of Unity, but Unity is not, it doesn't really scale very well. There is a very substantial reason why there hasn't been any AAA titles made in Unity, and that's kind of a combination. There appears to be something within the engine which does not, while it doesn't look as good as Unreal out of the box, you can make it look really, really good, but there's something about the overhead of running all the code in C# instead of C++. So you just that step away. Unity has always had sort of performance issues when you get to sort of bigger games and grander things, and you don't have that with Unreal. Unreal is sort of infinitely scalable. You can make the most AAAist of all AAAist games with 1,000 people working on it using Unreal because it's running in C++, and that's what your code base is. And also because the code is open source. If you've got some really good coders that really know C# and game engines really well, they can actually just get into the nuts and bolts of the game engine itself and start tearing things apart and rebuilding bits to make them work how you need them to. You can't do that with Unity. You can apparently buy a license so that you can get source code, but that's not released to the public how much that is, so we've got no idea how expensive that is. So that's another thing. Unreal is an infinitely scalable engine. So now not only have we got Lumen and Nanite coming to Unreal Engine 5, which are both amazing technologies, you've also got an infinitely scaling engine which now has one of the largest libraries of probably the best Megascans assets in the world. These assets are used by Disney in the Avengers movies and in other things like that. They are like the cream of the crop, the highest, best quality 3D assets you can buy in the world. Only you don't have to buy them. You can get them for free now as long as you're using Unreal. So you've got that. And then we had another announcement as well yesterday as well at the... for now, if your game that's made in Unreal doesn't breach $1 million turnover, there are no royalties to pay whatsoever. So it's just they keep throwing more and more reasons for indie developers to come over to their platform. You've already got the 12% split on the Epic Game Store. If you release a game on the Epic Game Store, they only take a 12% split, whereas on Steam it's 30%. So that's already a huge incentive to go over there. Plus, if you do make your game in Unreal and then release it on the Epic Game Store, you don't pay any royalties whatsoever for the engine. So you literally just pay a 12% split, and that's it. That's all you pay. Whereas if to create a game in, say, Unity and release it in Steam, you've got your 30% to Steam before you go anywhere, and then also you have to pay. There's all sorts of different pay scales with Unity. You can either pay like daily, sort of monthly licenses for a pro license, and then you've got some other stuff that you need to do. And I do believe they have a revenue split in there as well. But it's certainly significantly higher than 12% on their main platform, and then no royalties if you're below $1 million. So they just keep tightening them screws, and they also have been giving lots of money out to indie developers as well to finish their projects and make their games work and stuff. So yeah, it appears Epic are definitely doing a lot of major power plays there, but and it's really starting to kind of make me wonder the wisdom of sticking with Unity. It has to be said, it really does. But anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts. You need to watch this video regardless, because it is absolutely fantastic. It is amazing. It's one of the first, it's definitely a sign of the next gen. It doesn't actually use ray tracing as well. If you go over to Digital Foundry, they did a really good video about this. It doesn't use ray tracing, or certainly no hardware accelerated ray tracing, so there's no RTX in there. So they were saying, well, you could use this system, the Lumen system, for really good dynamic global illumination, and then you would just use RTX for your real-time reflections. So you would get like the best of both worlds. You would have a marginal performance hit for getting the real-time reflections, but you would also have these amazing, global illumination. So yeah, it's, oh dearie me, yes. So I'd love to hear your comments. I think this is absolutely amazing news. It's certainly good. Just as a consumer, it means that, this is another good step in the right direction, I think, and it looks fantastic. So anyway, I'd love to hear your comments. Watch the video, see what you think, and thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the rate, comment, subscribe, all of that kind of good stuff, because it really does help the channel. Even though I'm not posting to it very much, it'd be good if you could help it for me. That would be awesome. Check me out on Instagram and on Facebook as well. I'm on there. So thank you very much for your time, guys. Take it easy, and I will see you very soon. All right, see you later. Bye-bye.
It's time to see what's next.